Hey everyone, welcome back. It's time for Devlog number 5. Kinda hard to believe, after just a few months, we're already on Devlog number 5 and we're wrapping up chapter number 3. Speaking of the devlogs, my original intention for those was just as a fun way to show early progress in our process on levels and new chapters. However, over time, excitement for the devlogs grew. And with that, expectations for what the devlogs were supposed to be kind of went off track a little bit. Instead of being about our process and giving a glimpse of the development, small look at certain items, instead an expectation formed that these devlogs should actually be more of a tell-all or a trailer of each level. Kind of an in-depth look at enemies, the mechanics, and the gameplay elements of each upcoming level, which essentially doesn't really tell much about our process, and at the same time leaves very few surprises for the upcoming chapter. Due to this growing excitement, impatience within our community has been also growing, and these devlogs have started to become more of an obligation and an obstacle to our development than the fun little videos that they were supposed to be. Now, some of you might be bummed out hearing me say all this, but that's really not my intention. The devlogs are not going anywhere. I'm merely saying, hey, pause, let's step back, and get the devlogs back to what they were supposed to be. These videos are not going to spoil anything in the upcoming chapter levels, and they're just going to be short, fun glimpses, look back at the progress we've made. Simple summaries of each level that are not going to be anywhere near 10 minutes long anymore. For me, this is a great way to make the devlogs feel more informative, faster to make, fun, and feel like less like they're taking us away from development of the actual game. But yeah, I know. Let's get to what you guys are really here for. The thing you've been asking for the last few weeks. Level 4, the sewer. Yep, that's right. The next stop in the Dark Deception journey is a weird and creepy sewer system. Now, in a lot of horror stories, sewers are a great source of the unknown. We as humans don't really spend a lot of time traversing sewer systems or just kind of hanging around there, so it really is a big mystery to a lot of us, and a lot of us have never set foot in a sewer system. As a result, this allows our imagination to run wild, imagining what sort of things might be down there. This leads to a lot of urban legends, and I'm sure a lot of you have heard the stories about things getting flushed down the toilet and winding up in the sewer where they grow to ridiculous sizes. I think for most people now, the sewers are a place where everything floats, and a certain very well-known clown awaits to greet you. For me, the sewers are a place where the lost and forgotten things in people's lives wind up, and I think that's a theme you might notice as you play through the level. As many of you have seen online, the Duckies are the enemy of the sewer, and they will definitely test your ability to pay attention to details. This is largely because, as I've shown and talked about online, there's a lot of water in the sewer level, and it's very hard to run in water, so this will affect the player's movement speed, including speed boost. There are also a lot of other obstacles like doors that will also slow down the player's escape, so it's going to be really important to pay attention to your surroundings to prevent enemies from sneaking up on you. And yes, there will be traps again. One of the unique aspects of the Dread Ducky is that it's the first enemy to have a long-range attack. That's why it's very important not to let them get too close to you. They don't have to be right next to you to kill you. The last thing I'll mention is that the Dread Duckies are not the only enemy you will face in the sewer level. What do I mean by that? Well, you'll have to play the game to find out. But it's something that will be pretty common in all levels from here on out. Okay, let's switch gears for a minute. One of the things that I get asked about a lot, but we never really talk about much, is how did we make Dark Deception? What is our process, and what goes into making and designing a level in Dark Deception? Now obviously I can't show you everything, but I can definitely give you a look behind the curtain. Back in 2014, when I first created Dark Deception, I was actually very focused on replayability, since Dark Deception was originally supposed to be a mobile title. As a result, when I was designing the levels, I was designing them to be procedural tile sets. The reason for this being that the mazes would be randomly generated, meaning each time you played, the layout would be completely different than the previous time. We accomplished this by creating 16 meter by 16 meter tile sets with pathways that would be connected when the tiles were snapped together programmatically. Now the downside of that approach is that it severely limited the creativity of our level layout. It also created a lot of technical issues, since light bakes would produce weird results, and we'd often get a lot of texture seams where the tiles met up that were difficult to hide. Thankfully, that is no longer the case with the current version of Dark Deception. Everything is a static layout now, and that gives us a lot of freedom as to how we lay out the level and how we build assets. So now we've switched more to a modular approach with our assets. That's where we build a lot of little assets, a lot of little pieces, and basically reuse those pieces to create all manners of architectural form and layout. All of Dark Deception's characters and environments are created inside of Autodesk Maya. As for the characters, they are also rigged and animated in Maya as well. For textures and materials, we usually use Photoshop as well as Substance Painter and Designer. I highly recommend Substance for anyone serious about creating assets for games and getting into the game industry. It's something you'll definitely want to become familiar with, since you'll be using it a lot, whether you work for a AAA studio or an indie studio. Since the game was built in Unreal, it was very important for us to familiarize ourselves with Blueprint system, as well as to keep an eye on the number of draw calls and optimization in general across textures and level assets, as those will greatly affect the performance of your game on different platforms. Okay, that's a wrap for Devlog number 5. Before we sign off, there's one more thing I need to mention. For everyone who didn't see it in the community thread, on March 4th we're going to be having Dark Deception's largest sale on Dark Deception Complete. Yes, even bigger than Steam's Summer Sale. And the reason we're doing this is because there's a lot of initiatives that we want to move forward, and we need to raise money now rather than later to get these off the ground. Things like Dark Deception on mobile, Dark Deception on Nintendo Switch, PS4, Xbox One. These are things that we definitely need help with, and it costs a lot of money. So we're hoping that with the sale that we can get a good bit of that money that we need to get all of these things moving right now in development, so that we can have them out to you in a few months or sooner. So if you haven't bought Dark Deception yet, and you'd like to get it 30% off, now remember, Dark Deception Complete is already discounted almost 30% from the original price. That will put it at almost half price for the entire game, which is about $350 per chapter. That is the best price that we will offer for all of 2019, so definitely move fast if you are serious about supporting us and you really want to play the game. So that's it. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Good talk, and good night. I'll see you next devlog.